more we come back to a quantum, this state of zero point innocence, the more we're going to change our quantum manifestation. So what's quantum manifestation? If everything is a wave of possibilities and our field of consciousness is the governor of the waves of possibilities, that means that we can start to become more and more, we already are the masters of our reality, but we just don't know it. So we definitely create a lot of garbage for ourselves. The more we realise that we are creating the past for ourselves and creating the present and future for ourselves, and the more we clear ourselves of our traumas, it's important to look at these traumatic experiences. We'll keep repeating in our lives until we learn from them. These things will just keep happening. And this is the idea that when Michael Newton talks about the way we, in between lives, we choose our next incarnation. We choose negative events to happen to us. His theory is this: we choose negative events to happen to us so that we can learn and reach higher octave levels of consciousness. So when you choose a negative, well, this is really cool in the sense that when you choose a negative event that's going to happen to you in your next incarnation, the idea is that you're going to learn from it, accept it, and let it go. Often what people do is they get a bit confused at this point and they don't learn from it and they don't let it go. And then that negative cycle of similarity will keep occurring. This is very common, let's say, when people get into negative or abusive relationships. They don't learn from it, they deny it, and it keeps happening until they stop and understand what the lesson is and what they need to learn about their own behaviour, and go into that full kind of disclosure of how they've set that up for themselves back in time, and let it go. People are letting stuff go all the time and changing their timeline and really coming to a place of nowness and emptiness. And this empty state, again, is just the most incredible place to be. Another thing that people seem to do a lot in our culture, which really slows this process down, is constantly creating a reality where they are lying to themselves all the time. And there's certain cultures that we're aware of that do this all the time. We're one, but I've definitely seen worse in other places. When you say one thing and do another, it really damages your body. One of my teachers in Asia says that lying is actually extreme violence. It's quite an extreme thing to say. This is coming from a Kung Fu teacher. So, when you say one thing and then do another, what's actually happening in your body? Deceit traps energy. And when you're deceiving yourself, you're trapping energy. So, let's look at how this works. Trapped energy in the body is the basis of all illness, really. Internal, free-flowing energy is the basis of health. The harder something is, the more energy it contains. So when we have hardening in the body, hardening in the eyes with cataracts, or hardening in our joints and arthritis, or hardening in our organs like cysts and cancers, all these sorts of things, this is where energy is trapped. And we can trap energy by messing with ourselves on a level of truth. So, we can look at this by kind of understanding, say, like a tornado or something like that, okay? So let's say you're going to tell someone that you're going to go and meet them at the beach. And you're here. This is just an idea of kind of energy. I'm going to meet you at the beach. It's going to be great. And your friends are at the beach waiting for you, right? But what you actually did is you just didn't go to the beach. I'm going to look at energy. This is in the body, okay? We're going to look at energy heading in opposite directions. This is what you said you were going to do, and this is what you did. You didn't go to the beach. You stayed back here. Meanwhile, your friend's waiting at the beach for you. And you said you were going to be at the beach because it made you feel good. You felt good about being able to make a decision and your own self-gratification, going, yeah, I want to do that, I want to make you feel good, I want to make me feel good. But you're actually really lazy and you're full of shit and you just didn't go to the beach. And look at this in the sense of wind. When you have two opposing forces, it can create a spiral. Alright, so what can happen in the body when we start to lie to ourselves is we create these spirals of energy. Now the way energy is trapped in our body is in these spirals. Okay? Now this is a very strange analogy. When we are completely non-truthful all the time and saying all these things and not actually doing them, we're confusing our body on a spiritual level when we're lying to ourselves on this level. Because it's basically a way of capturing energy and creating a lot of confusion in the human body. This is why truth on a very bigger spiritual level is a very, very important thing, especially when it comes to the way we interact with ourselves. When you trap energy, you create an energetic vortex in the body. I want you to think about the way a tornado is shaped. Okay? When you trap energy, you create a vortex, and this eventually leads to a geometry. When energy is being pulled in more and more from the universe, electrons and this sort of thing, it creates a blockage in the body, and then it creates a geometry. Energy, these sorts of geometries are just a natural thing that just happens when energy is trapped in space. The way it's like a crystal, the way a crystal is formed and this sort of thing. But in the human body, if we're in a lot of deceit and we're in a lot of denial about what we're saying and what we're doing, we capture more and more energy in the body. You want free-flowing light through your body. When you capture energy, you become harder and harder, and you contain way more emotion. A lot of this is sort of emotion as well. And there's a lot of these amazing kind of Taoist sayings about, the way of life is to be soft and subtle, supple and flexible, and the way of death is to be hard and rigid. And again, if you look at like any kind of matter, the harder something is, the more energy it contains. So we don't want to contain a lot of energy, we want to have free-flowing light moving through our body. This is why being truthful is so important. So uranium holds more energy than steel, because it's harder. Okay? Water holds more energy than air, because it's got more density. So it's a really, really interesting thing. This is why coming into truth with what we're saying and what we're doing with other people and with ourselves is so, so important. And we can move into clearing these energies and letting things go. That's the amazing thing about this sort of denial. If you had something bad happen to you and you just deny it and deny it and deny it and deny it, that fear, shame, guilt and anxiety, these negative emotions about an event, are going to create an internally, we're going to create a reality like this in your body where you're going to be trapping energy over time. And it's going to turn into something like this. It's going to turn into a crystal of energy in the body, which is going to lead to illness, a geometry, hardening in the body. And hardening in the body is the basis of so much disease in our world. But again, this usually comes from emotion, trapped energy.